Greetings and welcome to Matrix Unlocked, presentation 49. What a wonderful number. It's 13. It's unlucky for some, but when you think about the sum, who is doing the sums? Are they not the banking and the account ants? But before I go any further, this first part of this message is for all the women out there. I have a friend who's putting up on Facebook. She's on week 40 of her pregnancy, and it's got to that stage. She's had enough, and I said, "Look, just talk to her. You have a direct line in Shore Ants. I'm not talking about direct line insurance. I'm talking about the umbilical cord. Send those thoughts. Communicate. Talk to that baby. Talk to that new ant. Because you're all particip ants. Some of them can come out immature or premature. Sometimes it happens. I have no experience, obviously, of pregnancy. I can only put it across in ways I hope it'll make sense. You're all doing things physically. Think about those little wire, plastic covered food ties, right? You've got a wire. And then you seal something, you wrap it round and you give it a couple of twists. Well, if you want to get what's inside, you have to undo those twists again. That's what this is all about, which I'm doing with words. It doesn't stop. Now, this is not a complaint. Some of you have said to me, I look tired. Well, of course I look tired. I'm retired. Because I'm building a train, I'm writing. I haven't got very far with it because it's proving to be difficult to put in any sort of order. When you see, the letter C can also be spelt with an S and becomes C, which you see, and the sea that you swim in. It's difficult to even try and put these words in what you're used to as an alphabetic order, because it isn't alphabet, it's a gamble, and you have addiction, you add diction, it's your addiction, because we're speaking phonetics. I've said to cast your nets on the other side, and it's not the television network, it's not the nets of the phony phonetics either. It's sending it out through our actions, through our thoughts, because thoughts is thoth. I don't know where I'm going with this, because this is just flowing and just coming out. Let me give you a Big Bang theory. I get all these spiritual downloads, and they don't... I feel like I'm going to burst and explode. This knowledge, sharing is caring. It's not meant for me. This is why I make these videos. I have to release it out of me and share it, and hopefully it will all make sense. But we've got off track. So building a train, writing a book, how about a film? This is going to be a real blockbuster. I do this freely because I've got to put the work in before I get paid. I'm not after financial wealth, I'm after the liquid gold, the spiritual wealth that this brings. See, already I'm an actor. I'm not really writing the scripts as such, but I'm my own producer, my own director. There's the back scene. I've painted part of it with the ceiling. Because I'm a smoker, it went yellow, and it hadn't been done for years, so that's now white again. So yeah, so I thought I'd Well, somebody's beaten me to it. This is the problem with this film. You know, like you get Terminator, and then you had Terminator 2, Terminator 3, and so on. And you'll see this with films. They're numbered Friday the 13th, part 1 to, what was it, 13? All these films do this. Well, what about World War? You've had World War One. You've had World War Two. So, excuse me. Let's think about World War Two. That's the sequel. That's your evening entertainment. That was quite a big blockbuster. Well, let's look at the central characters. Now, one of them, we all, I think, know from, I mean, John Levi, I think, has covered this, and various other channels, probably A Plain Truth for You, Quantum of Consciousness, Matt may have covered this. I can't actually remember, it might even be UAP channel. Now, you may well have heard of the story of Franklin D. Roosevelt had a special steam train and he didn't have legs. And I mean, that's one of your actors, that's a character for a start. When you understand what Roosevelt means, Welt is a German word for world. So it's a ruse on the world. Now, what about another character? How about You Win Not, because it's an ill church, because it's Winston Churchill. And don't forget that the winds are sore and they have Baal morals. They're sore winds. They were Saxe-Coburg-Goethers. Now, if you go right over to the east, there was a Tsar who was a star, who was an evil star because he's of Roman, he's a Romanov. But we want to change, they wanted to change the script in the east so they can carry on destroying any evidence of Tartaria. So what better than to put Set, install Set, because Set is another way of spelling Joseph. Joseph Stalin. Stalin, install. You install Set. Now what about the other guy? A flood hell-writ. Adolf Hitler. You see all these characters, we won't worry about the slightly lesser parts, the co-stars, because you've obviously got Mussolini and the Japanese emperor. I haven't decoded those ones yet. I'm not familiar with the names. Obviously it's Mussolini. Well, you've got a line right there. So, yeah, so they've already beaten me to it with that film. But this is why, as I've said, they are blockbusters, because it is destroying the physical evidence of Tartaria. Now, we could also look at one that is being pushed on the truth-seeking side, which is Nikola Tesla. But that's an anagram, yet again. Never the twain shall meet, Mark. Because it is all coin, all set. If you spin those letters round and rearrange them, the coin is spelt with a K, not with a C. Now, his opponent, because they always play good cop, bad cop, of course, was Thomas Edison. Well, Thomas, a shortened version of Thomas, is Tom, as in atom, tom-tom, the tom-tom of the drum. So that leaves Edison. That's a Dyson. Now you also have a vacuum cleaner called a Dyson. But as was pointed out to me by a good friend, I prefer to use a U-bank and do it myself. I don't need electrics. And I can get down on my hands and knees and do it for myself with a dustpan and brush as well, and sweep up the dirt. because it's amazing how much dirt and filth there is in this world. But these words, as I've said before, they are glyphs. Now, Roosevelt, there's been two Roosevelts. A Theodore, well, there's a door to The. The is theology, the study of God. Because it's been twisted. The more recent one is the Franklin. Well, there's a Franklin Mint. Now, you add a D onto that, you've got death. So that's what the ruse of that in that Welt, that world was. There is another Welt as well, or a Walt, Eastern Eye, Disney. So these are all characters in. I don't like that film that's been shown to us. We've got a television network. We've got an internet. I prefer the telepathic world, the world of nature, because telepathy is reading minds. There's nothing hidden. We're all open to each other. That is the skill that we have lost and we need to find again. Think also about wars, how they're always measured in terms of human casualties, because it's pretty casual. They don't care. It's just a numbers game to them. This is why they give you so many numbers in things, because they know exactly what they're doing with the numbers. And everything is a half-truth, half-lie. You've got 3 sixes in you. 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons. But does the 666 in that sense make you evil? Because you have the power of choice. It's the double helix. It's your twin serpents, your caduceus. You've got to see both sides to everything. It depends what you buy into and what story is sold to you. And it depends what you're spending. Are you spending your time, your liquid gold, or are you chasing that illusory, illuminated as opposed to enlightened dream? Because some of you may well get to a certain stage where you become millionaires. You might get lucky and have a little dip and come out with a lottery win. And you're going to get the superficial wealth. You can amass as many Porsche sports cars as you want. You can hide yourself behind electronic gated walls and you can have a mansion, but are you really going to be happy? Is that going to bring you happiness, or is that just going to bring you things that take a leaf out of the book of Tutankhamun? Real or not real, irrelevant. But it said to you right there, you can't take it with you. Anyway, I'll leave that there, and peace and love. Before I go, I'm gonna say, first off, have a look on my channel at playlists. There is a new playlist called Other Channels, and thank you so much to the Divine Feminine Wisdom of Karen, of Sun and Moon channel, and the Unscrambled channel, for putting me in contact to some of the most beautiful souls out there. I came in on the back of a discussion. Santos Bonacci he only had an hour, so he had to go. So Karen very nicely, very kindly invited me on. So I got to talk to Charlie from Freak Sense TV. I'm going to put links into this. Now, for those that don't know, Freak Sense TV, his name is Charlie, and he is doing some beautiful work. He has got an animal rescue centre, I hope I've got this right, in Mexico, and saving the lives of, it's 45 animals, I understand from what he said. So please, if you do find yourself, it doesn't matter how small it is, a donation to help those animals. 90% of that money is going for the care and the healing of those animals. Look, we've got to come together. We've got to help each other in ways, because no one else is going to do it for us. When the penny drops that there is no official body, because it's part of a very evil body of a monster, there is no charity. There is nothing that is formal and organised that is on our side. don't get me wrong with this. There are many beautiful people who are thinking they're doing the right thing and being having their energy sucked out of them because they're only dealing with a play out thing. One example of this would be cancer research, being a volunteer in the charity shop, doing fantastic work. It's not going to get to the source of the cancer, and there is already cures for cancer with sound vibration, with various other methods of healing, but just by changing your diet and sorting out the balance inside yourself. I was asked about monatomic gold. It's not something I've really looked into. Martin Leaker covered this on a very recent presentation on his channel, and I'll put a link in about that one as well. Now, within your blood you have transition metals. You have minute particles of gold, mostly around the heart, because that's what you want, a heart of gold. It does open up a very unpleasant side when you think about blood donor and what's really being done there. I'm not going to touch on the dark, sinister side of all this. We do have to face this because it is part of our Medusa. We have to come to terms, but make it on our terms, not on their terms and conditions. It's unconditional. So, wow. I didn't know I was going to be saying half of this. I've said this is how it comes. It just comes. It just flows. I've got to release it, otherwise I'll explode. So hopefully that makes sense of a few more things, and we just keep unlocking things. And do share this. Don't necessarily mean share this particular video. Share the information out. Thank you. I had a comment as well about the term vanilla sky. That was, I've forgotten now. UAP channel, sorry. Yes, it was UAP channel. Thank you. I mean, that's brilliant. Just look at those old Victorian black and white photos where it's all completely white cloud cover skies. What have we got now? It's history repeating itself. Do we want to go through all this again? This hell on earth? Or do we actually want to flip it over, undo those twists and make it into something that is a heaven on earth? Because there is duality in everything. As Christine on Holographic Multiverse channel has told many of you, the answer to everything is always yes and no. You can see the Garden of Eden in a good way or a bad way. You can see it as the fall of man into this duality. The serpent, you can also say, is the one that didn't lie and said, try the apple, it's not going to kill you. That wasn't a lie. So there are always two ways of looking at these things. Even Satan has a good side and a bad side. That might surprise some of you. Jesus can be seen as something good or something bad because he's the son of Saturn, son of Satan. Jupiter, Saturn, astrologically it makes more sense. There's so many ways to look at this, and you will find repeatedly the answers are always yes and no, because we're dealing with something that plays good cop, bad cop, through these phony faux net ticks. See, there's another way that we've been netted. What is your net weight? What is your liquid gold? You need to find it within yourselves, like in the physical world. If you want something done, you've got to get off your arse and do it yourself. But that doesn't mean do it selfishly, in a selfish way. We can do it in a benevolent way, where we help each other and help all life, not least the trees and Mother Nature. That's what we need to come back into contact with, and everything will change. We can create not a world, but a heaven on earth. Because think about this, if you spin yourself round, you're going to go dizzy, and then when you stop spinning yourself round and you try and walk in a straight line, you will find that you very soon will go careering off, because they've turned us into worker ants, but we're not working for the good of all of us. We're working for a control system when we are fooled by this, and we become debt slaves. We become ants, because that's how they see us, something they can squish. But what happens when the ants wake up, like in Bug's life? Plenty to think about in this one, I think. So I am going to say ta-ta for now, because regardless of when it was, exactly what it was, this idea that is coming together of a utopian Tartaria, is that not something worth going for? We're subject to time, so we can present ourselves in a present, as in the presence, as a present. We can gift this to the future. We can give and gift if we choose to do so, and we can create a utopia where we are free of this evil in the world, and we can still be in this 3D reality, and we can have a good time with all of this if we choose to do so. The choice always is and always has been yours. It's just there's been an evil overlay that has played good cop, bad cop, and added twists, and has confused things, because this is how this thing operates. It operates through us. We really are our own worst enemies. We need to face our shadow self, and then it all becomes clear. Thank you.